Okay, so we had a little break there. I got into one of the segments and I had to. We're going to start it over again. If I if I said it before, I correct myself. The the cutouts are all going to be on the G string. Okay, and the other thing to remember, if I'm repeating myself, it's important enough that when we just play the long patterns, we're going into the next cage, and that's including these long cages, this new cage system that I have here, which probably guitar players know about it, because you can't get around it. There's no way around it. You can't go through your life just pentatonically like that. You have to do the entire, all seven. So you got to add the fourth and the seventh. Now let's look at it real quick here. We have the fourth is 4, 5, 6, 7 root 2, 3, 4, 5. Now 6, 7 root will give us a double here. Here's our fourth cage here. Okay, right here. This is the Lydian cage here, the new cage, one of the new ones. The other new one is obviously the Ionian. The long patterns, 4, 5, 6. We've got root 2, 3 there. We could look at the second string, and then 4, 5, 6. And we also have 5, 6, 7 down here, which is your long A pattern, long A cage. Anyway, we're looking at the excuse me, the Lydian cage. All right. So we've got 4, 5, 6 on the top. We can derive. We can find out where the pattern cutout is. Obviously, the cutout is to eliminate this double note here. We want to favor the open string, because we're going to go back to the other pattern anyway, and we want to play the 4, 5, 6. If we don't favor the open string and we don't want to play the open string, we want to play this one, then we will advance to the next cage each and every time in both cage systems, in the regular caged and in modal caged. Okay, so remember, this is we've got modal caged here. Remember, this is the modal cage system, right, that I'm looking at. So these are the modal cages: Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, right? Who people would call that the A minor, the A minor pentatonic, or whatever they like to call it, but it's really diatonic. And then the Locrian, the Ionian, and the Dorian cages. So these are the modal cages. Now, approaching the cage from the bottom, some would say that's the top of the it's from the top here, actually. Some would call it the bottom. We look at this as the string shaped fourth. The string shaped fourth of C is E. We know that, right? I've got the little backup circles here. So here's simple string shaped fifths. The fifth of E is C. The string shaped fourth of E of C is E. Okay. Okay, so let's slow down. We've got time to do this. I'm just getting into this. So we have 4, 5, 6 here. The string shaped fourth of the C is the E right here. You can see 3, 4, 5 is the simple string shape. 7 root 2 is the simple E string shape. The string shaped fourth is always, so the string underneath is going to be, for the most part, the string shaped fourth. We've got root 2, 3 there. So that is how we would get back to the same starting string shape. So we've got our starting string shape and the starting string shape on the bottom, and the top string are the same. But the rule I want to just mention, I have to, for us to move on, is that if we just play away, so we're going to go 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like that, or just 5, 6. That takes us from a C long 4C long to an A. So we've gone to the next cage. There, we've gone from C4 to A5. It's always going to take us to the next cage if we play away the string shapes. So here, let's look at it. We start on a long G string shape here. Where are we going to go from this G? We're going to end up on E7. So let's look at it. G6, 7 root. Okay, so here's our G cage here. Here's our G cage right there, okay? And we're going to end up on 6, 7 root like that. Okay, or actually 7 root 2 is where we would end up. So how does that work? It's the next cage. Notice it was outside the box. So we're only going to end up in the next cage when we just play away the long patterns, okay? So we know that. I just want you to make sure that we know 2 rules of thumb we've kind of reinforced on this lesson, and that is the pattern cutouts. The pattern cutouts in the long cages. Now remember, these long cages, these modal cages have a repeat note, which means they're not strictly cages, except they are. Okay, because what it is we define a cage, okay, as something. I think the wife's home, so we're going to have to call it quits for now. But we define the tri-modal cages. Let's say this is a C, it's a 4, okay, and then we go to the diminished, and then we go to the 1 there. We define the cage where it has its top and its bottom. It's like boxing. It's like boxing a TV with an antenna that you have to send in a box. The box is going to be as big as the antenna. It's not just as big as the squared out TV. You know what I'm saying? So the box is going to be as big as this antenna. Now let's look and see if we have in simple cages, if we would have that going on with tripentatonic. I believe we have that going on. So we got 6, 7 root here. So in the normal G case, it's G, C, D, and our D shape here is going to be 2, 5, 7. You see that right there? 2, 5, 7. Over here we have a double 7 there in the G because we've got our lone wolf 7. All right, we've also got 5, 6, 7. The 2, 5, 7 doesn't really reach that far. So the peculiarity, we're going to end it here. The peculiarity about these new cages here that I don't like about them, but we're going to have to deal with it for now, is that we have the cutout option. So that's the best we can do. Each of these cages has a double, but these are the modal cages. So in the C modal cage, we've got this double root here, right? We've got the double 7 there or something like that in that C cage. We can play the 7 here, we can play it here, and it's your option to take the cutout for that. We don't have the 7 on the C, we have the root. So here's our C cage, we have root there. Okay, in the A cage here, we've got the 2 and the 2 there. So these cages are defined with one double in there that you have, you know, it's like they're ladder cages. So we'll talk more about that in the next lesson. But for the time being, you know, we just look at this, and the second cage up, we have restart the scale, play our way up to the warp, and clear the warp once again. You know, so we have the C, and then we start the C again there with G, but we're going to clear the warp at D there instead of go straight up in P4 tuning with the warp. So that's, you know, we've discovered some things, and we've also you know, explained some things that you can do this with any mode, any modal. Just start the scale over again, start the C shape again. It's been a really good lesson today. We'll just keep trudging along to the road of happy guitar playing. Okay, and don't forget to like and subscribe the video, click the link, and we'll see you next time.